Hey everybody, Adam Savage, and I am in one of my favorite places in the world, the Arms and Armor Room at the Metropolitan Museum of Art with Marina, assistant curator. How are you?
Good, how are you?
You wanted to talk about horse armor, which is not something we've talked about yet.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, horses were maybe the closest companion at war in the medieval and Renaissance period.
Yeah.
It's the only animal that was sharing almost everything with gentlemen at the time, war including. So it's the only animal in Europe, at least, that would really go to war. So they share also the same kind of armor.
Well, and the intricacy and decoration in the armor, it's clear that they valued the horses incredibly.
Of course, and those horses were the most expensive horses of the time, the war horses that were bred and trained for that purpose. So losing such a horse on the battlefield was a big loss for anyone. Yeah.
Amazing. What are some of your favorite features of the armor made for animals?
Well, in the case of horses, what's amazing, like they try to, as much as possible, to make the horse more comfortable in its armor.
Right.
So the evolution of horse armor started like in the 12th century. So at the first it was just like a male caparisons. And when they developed plate armor for people, they tried to do it for the horses as well in the 14th, 15th century. And by the 15th century, they had like the full plate armor called the bard. But if you look at it, you may see that it's not complete, some bits are missing. So do you know why?
No.
Well, actually, because even if they had the technology to cover the horse's legs, for example, it's very uncomfortable for the horse.
Sure.
And they wanted to value the mobility because that's the advantage the horse gives you. So you can't just tell a horse, like, wear that armor, you will save your life.
Yeah.
No, the horse will understand, like it's annoying, I don't want to wear that. So every equestrian can relate to that. So they have to find a way to protect the horse as much as possible while not limiting its movement.
So just like with the human rider, the armoring of a horse is a collaboration between the wearer and the maker.
Exactly. So with the exception that the horse can't talk, so and they can't really understand that this is for its own safety.
But they're very sensitive animals. I did a shoot once where I put on armor and got on a horse, and the armorer went to that horse for 2 weeks before our shoot and just shook armor around him to get him used to the sound and the feel and all of that.
Yeah, they were doing that with war horses. Even when the horse were very young, like 3-year-old, they would walk them in some suburban areas with a lot of hammer sounds and everything. So the horse would get used to any kind of sounds, and then they would we have horse treatises in the 16th century describing how you train a horse to get accustomed to weapon around it. So you can actually feed it with a piece of red at the tip of a sword, for example. So you wouldn't get, or you cleaning it with a helmet on the head, so you would get used to have people with weapons and armor around it. So.
Amazing. All right, you've selected a few pieces to talk about here, and I haven't looked too closely, but these look like an amazing roster of things. Do you want to talk about some of these?
Yeah, sure. That piece is probably the most impressive of our collection. This is my favorite piece at the Met.
This is for a horse, yes?
This is for a horse. It's called a chaffron, basically horse helmets. But here it wasn't meant to be used on the battlefield. Well, this is very impressive. This is still, obviously, but the purpose of such a piece was mostly for ceremonial or festival context. Exactly. So the point of making those is basically turning your horse into a dragon.
Into a dragon? I thought it was an elephant, but no. Yes.
It looks like, the medieval dragons had this typical raised snout out of it when you look at the pictures of the time. So on the side you have the teeth, so the pointy teeth.
It looks just like the St. George paintings.
Exactly. So the nose of the horse would come out of the open mouth of the dragon with the waved ears as well. So in the 15th century, they were making such things into some perishable materials as well, like the papier-mâché, leather, whatever.
Oh, really?
Usually they were turning the horses into dragons for festivals, carnivals.
Yeah.
But here is an armorer in the late 15th century who was talented enough to make it out of steel, so only the wealthiest people, of course, could afford such a thing. And what's interesting here, so it's been made at the end of the 15th century, but it's been redecorated in 1539. You have the date here, for the son of the King of France, Henry, the future Henry II. So he was Dauphin, means dolphins. That's the title of the son of the king in France. So you see the dolphins here. Around here. So it was reused in a courtly festival in the Renaissance period. So that piece was still relevant 40 years later.
Do you imagine that the armorers, after years and years of making all the same kind of pieces, must have had so much fun doing these biological forms?
Well, I think these were like special commissions, like, you know, as I said, for rich people, but only the most talented armorer could make such a piece. And you have to imagine it probably with a crew neck with some like similar bosses on the neck. We'll see another one there with the same bit. So that mimics a dragon spine, and maybe the rest like a full caparison with like cloth of gold and the whole thing.
This is your favorite?
Yeah, that's my personal favorite.
How long, when did you first know about this piece?
Well, when I started to look at horse armor in my studies in arms and armor, there was this small exhibit they did at the Met on horse armor, very small, like in-house exhibit, and they had this one in the catalog. This is how I found out first, and then I realized it wasn't on view, which was like to my despair. So, and then when I came here some years ago for the first time at the Met, you know, it was the first pieces I wanted to see, like, you know.
How exciting!
Yeah,
to see it in person.
Yes, that's an amazing piece. I love it.
Okay, tell me about this amazing piece.
So usually horse chaffrons, like they cover at least the whole front of the head, but in the 16th century they started to make what's called half chaffrons. As you see, it only protects the top of the horse's head, and usually they were associated with like rider's armor made for light cavalry armor. So the light cavalry armor, it protects like less of the rider's body. So in order to match this idea of having a lighter armor, they will have a lighter armor for the horse as well. So they will be associated with a black and white armor. So there should be a pole plate here, but it's lost. And this one is interesting because it had this Latin motto, verbum Domini manet in aeternum, the word of God endures forever, which was the Lutheran motto of the time. So it means it's been made for a Protestant lord of the time. So here you can see, however, there's a typo. It say verbum instead of verbum. It means the maker who etched the piece wasn't like reading Latin. So he just copied the sentence without really understanding it. And he made a mistake. Like he etched a P instead of a B.
That's amazing. It's got a typo.
Yeah, that happens.
The etching here looks so fine.
Yeah, it's a very fine piece made for a very wealthy people.
And then moving on.
Yeah, moving on, another like very special chaffron. Do you notice something on that chaffron?
It's got the eyes sculpted in.
But no opening for...
No opening for the eyes.
The horse's eye, yeah.
So can he not see, or are his eyes below this?
No, he cannot see.
He cannot see?
He cannot see with this one. It's called a blind chaffron. This is what here, you either have you just a smooth surface of here, they actually carve the eyes out of it. And if you look at the back, you see it's even been reinforced by another plate. So this is a very special chaffron for a type of German jousting, actually.
And that the horse can't know what it's about to endure.
Yeah, exactly. So there was they were running of basically blind horses. Of course, horses were trained to do it, trained to gallop, at least canter, in a straight line without seeing anything.
Yeah.
And they would have bells attached around the ears so they can't hear. So this was a very violent form of jousting in Germany, practiced in the late 15th and 16th century. The horses were, at least it protected also the horses' eyes, obviously.
Well, I mean, they had to have gotten them comfortable to wear it all.
Yeah, it's a long training, obviously, to get a horse to be confident enough.
I can only imagine. Okay, run, and you can't see or hear anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm noticing something interesting is that when it comes to things like flutes that they do all the time, the manufacturer is invisible because they're so practiced at it. But when with these weird shapes like the eyes, I see more of the maker's mark because it seems like it's a slightly unfamiliar shape. It's really neat. It's lovely seeing tool marks and stuff like that. That's crazy. Those horses are really badass.
Very special horses are very precious. Once again, you don't bring the horse you spend like years for training like this on the battlefield. You want it to be killed.
My goodness. Okay, this is the horse of a very famous rider.
Yes. So this is part of what's called an armor garniture. So a set of armor made for different type of combat. And this one probably is made for King Henry VIII.
Amazing.
So it's part of the whole set we have here, most of it at the Met. And so usually those sets had pieces for the horse as well. And once again, what's interesting, like since it was a garniture, like I say, you can have like exchange pieces for different types of combats. Same for the horse. You have some exchange pieces for the horse as well. And here, for example, you can detach the pieces on the side to have like a less protective chaffron.
So these plates come off?
Yeah, so you have like more protection if you want to have less protection here.
So in the same way that suits of armor for people had different arrangements and different configurations, same thing with the horses?
Same for the horses, yeah. You have less options, but you had, and sometimes not on this one, but you could actually detach that part and have a half chaffron like this, if you wanted to. And here, what's interesting is like they also reinforced the forehead area so that it would be more solid for protecting the horse's forehead.
I would assume, given that this is for the king, that this would be like some of the finest armor at this moment in time.
Yes, it was made by the Royal Workshops at Greenwich. So it has a lovely etching as well. Unfortunately, because of the loss of the gilding, it's kind of hard to see right now. But it's an amazing piece. Like being able to do all of it in one piece of metal is actually very impressive for the time. And this is what usually they made out of two pieces.
Wow.
And because they had to do it, this is why they had to reinforce this area, because probably they didn't have enough metal to really have like the very solid piece of metal here.
Right.
But what's the most interesting here, this is what I brought it here, is the crenette piece.
Oh my goodness.
So that's,
this is the piece missing from these.
Exactly. This is what you see on the horse's hair. This is what protects the horse's neck. So as I said, this is the only fully articulated piece of the horse armor. All the other pieces actually somehow like resting on the horse's body, made in a way that's, it's like a bell shape. It's only resting on like a couple of points around the horse's spine, so the horse has full movement around it.
And that's different than articulated.
Yes, because you can't do it on the horse. I say they don't like it to have something like close to their legs. They don't want to do anything. But for the neck, they needed an articulated piece. So it looks like a pretty simple piece like this, because it's just plates next to each other. But the genius of the crenette at the time, especially 16th century, wasn't really in the plate itself, and more in the leathering inside. So as you see it here, as it rests, you see like none of the plates are really touching each other. This is thanks to all the leathering system.
Oh, look at this.
And it's done in a way that when the horse is doing nothing, just like a normal position, as I said, none of the plates are touching each other here. So it has like full articulation. And this is done by calculating, the space between each of the leather attachment, where the leathers are done. And it only touches when the horse is in full extension or fully compression.
And not touching means it's not rubbing, means he can move more
exactly.
easily.
This is what you see.
Oh, look at that.
Here. If you look at from here, maybe, you see it it's basically...
Right. It just goes all the way through.
Exactly.
And then they've almost preloaded the hanging with each of these pieces.
Yeah, yeah.
Is
So
this
it
original?
looks, yes, this is original. This is very rare because usually the original leathers
always rotted away.
are gone. Like when you see it here, it's completely flat. It
Yeah.
means that leathers are either gone or replaced by modern one. This is why this is very rare to actually see the full technology
Yeah.
of a horse armor.
This is-
Very few pieces preserve this. You have different systems. This is one of them, but
The fact that there's only one set of holes on each lame is amazing to me because that distance is so precise.
yeah. So it looks simple, but it's actually very
God.
advanced
This is
way of
so-
doing it.
Is there anything about the leather that can tell you anything? Did you have it tested or anything?
Was it traditional like buff leather used, on all the armors?
Yeah.
But it's the way it is
Yeah.
attached, that is very, very special. And so the purpose of it was to give like full motion for the horse's neck. So you can compress it like this. You see how far it goes.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible. And again, I hear very few pieces touching each other.
Yep, that's the point of it. And when you flip it the other way, so you see, of course, a horse will never do that, but if you had to, it could.
What is the theme of the etching on the top?
Well, here on the coronet, it's very, very funny because, first of all, the shape of it, you see all
Yeah.
the bumps, it
Yeah.
mimics a dragon spine.
Another
once
dragon.
again. Because even when they were not like shaping the chaffron, the coronet, as a literal dragon, as we saw
Yeah.
before, most of the chaffrons in coronet kind of evoked a dragon shape, a dragon profile. Here you
Right.
see it in the profile. Even the profile of the chaffron. Like, it's less literal than the other one, but still, it recalls the dragon. And here it's more literal on the coronet. This is a dragon spine. But on the etching, though, you see each of the bump has an animal face on it. So here's a stag here. This is a bird, probably a falcon. You got a dog here, a cat, a sheep, another bird, maybe a parrot, and a lion here. And it would be something that only the rider could see.
Right. So Henry's just enjoying the view of this menagerie.
Exactly.
Was this meant for battle or was it parade or some mix of both?
Probably for tournament because the set we have of armor is like a mostly tournament set.
Right.
So it would have been used like in courtly festivals, kind of tournaments with different settings, as you can see.
If the gilding was perfect on this, would it be almost entirely gold and we wouldn't see the black?
No, it would be entirely gold.
So he gleamed on this.
Exactly. With his own armor, obviously.
Oh my God, right. So his armor was also all...
Yes, and the saddle as well. We have the saddle here, and the saddle plates are also decorated.
Is there any contemporary writing of anyone who saw him in this gleaming armor?
Not that I know of, but he had so many armors though. So.
The idea of this in the sunlight it must have been.
That's the point of it, I think.
Yes, that's exactly.
They thought about that.
Right, of course. There's so much, that's the thing, is there's so much theater built into all of these pieces. And it's theater of war, theater of competition, theater of bragging.
And we don't have like pieces for the body. So probably, as it was usual at this period, the rest of the horse armor wasn't made of metal, but mostly like hardened leather, but covered with very rich textiles, like cloth of gold, embroidery, etc., that would complete the steel pieces. And actually, we may think, like textile is like less than armor, but actually, rich textiles made of gold and silver were more expensive than armor.
Wow.
Yeah, we have seen some accounts, kings like, having this enormous commission of like cloth of gold, whatever. It takes years for them to actually pay the merchants. Usually it's like 5 or 6 years later that you can actually pay back all the
king
makers.
is doing layaway.
Yeah. All for like display and...
Marina, I really appreciate you showing me this. When I first walked into this room when I was 14, the horses were the thing that most surprised me in their magnificence. And this is a whole nother facet to it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you so much for watching that video. If while watching any of my videos you like any of the t-shirts that you see me wearing, well, you can go buy them. And there's two places you can get them. First, you can go to tested-store.com, a web address that my crew laughs is one of the hardest things for me to remember in my whole brain. But now they've given me a second URL. You can now go to adamsavage.com and buy any of the t-shirts you see me wearing on this channel. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff there too. Thanks.